Let's say your company's most important scientific work gets put under a microscope, maybe years after you thought it was all done and dusted. What's the one thing, the single thing, that's going to decide whether your reputation stands tall or comes crashing down? Well, today, we're diving into that critical last line of defense, the proper storage and retention of records and materials in a GLP study.
To really get a handle on these principles, let's follow the story of a company we'll call Apex Labs. Now, Apex is a big deal in their field, and their whole reputation is built on one simple, powerful promise. Their data is rock solid. You can reconstruct it from the ground up anytime.
But then, one of those mornings, a letter shows up, and it sends a chill through the whole place. A regulatory authority is calling for a surprise audit on a study they finished years ago. All of a sudden, their entire quality system is under the gun. And that's the big question, isn't it? Can they really piece it all back together? Every document, every sample, every single logbook. Can they rebuild that study with perfect accuracy to prove its integrity? Everything they've worked for now comes down to what's locked away in their archive.
So where do they even start? Well, the very first call goes to the archivist, the unsung hero who's basically the guardian of the company's entire scientific history. This is where the defense of that study really begins.
This right here, this quote gets to the absolute heart of the matter. The ability to reconstruct a study isn't just a nice to have, it is the fundamental principle that GLP archives are built on. It's the whole reason they exist, and it's the core of Apex Labs' defense.
You see, at Apex, the archivist gets it. The archive isn't just some storage room in the back. No way. It's a secure, climate-controlled vault. Everything is meticulously indexed so they can find things in a snap, all while protecting every single item from the ravages of time. This is where data integrity lives on, for years and years.
All right, so to make these auditors happy, Apex can't just throw a few files on the table. They need to present a complete, perfectly organized collection of every single record and material that has anything to do with the study. Let's take a peek at what that actually means.
The archivist gets to work, and man, look at this list. It is no joke. We're talking about everything. The study plan, the final report, all the raw data, paper and electronic. But it goes deeper. We need the specific SOPs, the standard operating procedures that were in use back then. We need the QA records, the training files for the people who worked on it, even the maintenance logs for the equipment they used. Not one thing can be missing.
This is exactly where Apex's careful procedures start to pay off big time. As part of their routine, the study director made absolutely sure all these materials were gathered up and handed over to the archive pronto, within just 4 weeks of the study being finalized. That prompt submission? That's the first crucial link in an unbroken chain of custody.
Okay, so they found all the materials. Great. But it's not like the team can just waltz in and grab what they need. Oh no. They have to follow a super strict protocol. In a GLP facility, that archive is a fortress, and that locked door is there for a very, very good reason.
Apex follows their protocol to the letter. First up, a formal written request gets submitted. Second, management has to provide written authorization saying exactly who can go in. Third, the archivist themselves grants access and supervises the whole thing. And finally, every single item that moves in or out of that archive gets recorded in a detailed log. This isn't just red tape, it's proof of their absolute commitment to security.
This really shows you how the roles of the archivist and the study director are distinct but work together perfectly. Think of it this way. The archivist is the guardian of the what and how, the secure storage, the indexing, logging access. The study director is responsible for the when and why, making sure everything is submitted on time and requesting access when it's needed. They're a team, and together they make sure the archive's integrity is never, ever compromised.
But wait, the auditor's not done yet. They don't just care about what Apex has. They're also drilling down on their policies for how long they keep it and what happens when it's finally time to get rid of it. This brings us to the really important idea of retention periods.
Now, here's the thing you've got to remember about retention periods. They are not just made up on the spot. They are a formal requirement. For Apex Labs, the original study plan they wrote years ago clearly stated the exact retention period required by the regulations. So from day one, they knew precisely how long they needed to hang on to every single piece of material.
But what happens if the regulations are a bit vague on the timing? Well, in that case, the rule of thumb, the best practice, is to keep everything long enough to cover at least 3 GLP Monitoring Authority inspection cycles. This just makes sure that inspectors have a good, long window to check on the facility's compliance and track performance over time. So what happens when time's up? Well, what you do with study material at the end of its life is just as critical as how you stored it. Apex can show the auditor crystal clear records for specimens that were disposed of, but only after their quality meant they couldn't be evaluated anymore. And crucially, that action was justified, it was authorized by management, and the whole thing was documented. No loose ends.
And now, the moment of truth. With every document pulled, every procedure accounted for, the Apex team is ready. They walk in and present the complete, fully reconstructed study to the auditor, totally confident in the work they've done.
You can just picture it, right? The auditor dives in, going through everything with a fine-tooth comb. They're verifying the study plan against the final report, cross-referencing every bit of raw data, and tracing that unbroken chain of custody for every single sample. And because Apex stuck to their GLP archiving principles so rigorously, everything lines up perfectly.
The result? Apex Labs passes the audit with flying colors. And their success isn't just a win for the company. It's powerful proof that a well-managed archive isn't just about storage. It's the ultimate proof of a study's validity and the ultimate defense of its scientific integrity.
So let's just quickly recap the key lessons from Apex's success story. Number 1, your archive is for reconstruction, not just storage. 2, the study director absolutely has to ensure timely and complete submission. 3, access has to be authorized, controlled, and logged. No exceptions. 4, define your retention periods and stick to them. And 5, document every final disposition, whether it's a transfer or destruction.
So I'll leave you with this one final thought to chew on. Take a hard look at your own system. Is your archive just a dusty closet full of forgotten files, or is it a secure, organized fortress for your data? Because at the end of the day, the strength of your archive is a direct reflection of the strength and the defensibility of your science. Make sure it's built to last.